This is an effects-laden blockbuster, but it's also a political allegory. Did the two ambitions meld together well for you, or was there a disconnect? Gabe, we'll start with you.
Well, the thing that struck me the most about this film was right at the beginning, the opening credits. I was really struck by the fact that the makeup and hair designer got second billing after the director.
Yeah.
And that was really unique to me. And that ended up being the most unique thing about the entire film.
Ouch!
I don't think that the effects Ladenness of it and the political statement they were trying to make melted together well. The effects weren't very good, and so that always immediately takes you out. Almost any time they stepped out of the train to show you a shot of the outside, it wasn't that great.
Yeah. Well, we should say this isn't exactly a Hollywood blockbuster. It's being distributed by the Weinstein Company, but it was produced much of it was produced by South Korea. So it's sort of a
Yeah, and I mean, it's screening in the art house chains.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, it's certainly not a blockbuster in the of the Hunger Games, Twilight ilk, and a lot of it did play like a low budget Asian horror film. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of that, not a lot, but a goodly supply of this gratuitous, just kind of gross violence. And the dialogue was often, sketchy at best. They would sort of repeat themselves. Like some of it sounded like a translation, the way they would kind of have to. So you're saying I'm gonna be the leader. So I'm gonna need to lead people. Like he would say the same thing again and again. And then when it got to the end of the second act, they suddenly realized, oh, wait a minute, we have this protagonist, but we have given him no backstory. we have not described what has happened to this man at all. So everybody just time out, take a seat, take a seat where you are. Everyone take a seat and let him just spew forth what his backstory is. And the alarming thing, as poor as this all was done, it made me like him even less. Because when you have a character, you want to tell a story of like a bad man becoming good or a good man becoming bad. There needs to be some movement, in his character. But there's something to be said for picking a character that is not, you don't want him to be that bad, because then people aren't going to buy it when he becomes good. Mm-hmm. But when he's sitting there describing that he not only kills babies but eats them, it's revolting and completely disgusting, and it puts him in this strata of just like, look, dude, that's nasty, and it just paints this horribly depressing picture of humanity. Mm-hmm. So, you think they start out with like this class system, where you have the good guys, you have the haves and the have-nots, and so as many films do, we cast our lot with the have-nots, and we're going to rally with them. But then as the film goes on, you just learn more and more how they're despicable as well. And so by the end, it's all of humanity, save a small black boy and a young, Asian girl and a polar bear that are gonna save humanity. And so, I guess at that point, you're sympathetic to those two characters,
All right, Gabe, that was a good 10-minute rant.